Well, I just heard the news today.
Alright guys, this is a bit of an unusual setup for me, but I figured I'd do this for the intro. We got a couple of lists coming up. I know I've been absent for like 7 months. Sorry, just didn't have the time to record any videos, but it's the year-end lists. It's time for the year-end lists, and I cannot pass. It's a tradition on the channel. Ever since 2022, we've been doing year-end lists. So we're about to get into my favorite albums of 2024, but before that, and even before the honorable mentions, we're going to get into 5 extra projects that I really just couldn't leave out the video. I thought they were very good, just didn't quite make it into even the honorable mentions. So I want to start with Dealer, New Order of Mind, which is a great return for this band. I mean, they're an Australian nu-metalcore band with the sparse beatdown hardcore elements here and there as well. They're very angry, very pissed, and this album wasn't their best work. I think their EPs Soulburn and Saint have a lot more punch to them, but still, songs like Red Teeth, fucking all of them basically, they all slap. Red Teeth, Hyperreal Death Scene. That one might end up on my favorite songs list, so watch out for that one as well. That one's gonna come probably next. I might do the EPs next and then the singles. But yeah, we're gonna be doing albums, EPs, and the singles for sure. Best albums, worst albums, only the best EPs, and then the best singles, or like not even singles, just general, my favorite songs of 2024. So yeah, Dealer, that new album, I wanted to shout it out. It's not quite as amazing and as consistent as it could have been, but I'm sure they'll improve on the next one. Next up we have Darko with Starfire, formerly known as Darko US. I think the guy from Chelsea Grin is in this duo band. His name is Tom Barber, I'm pretty sure. He's the GOAT. And I have to say I enjoy the output of Darko a lot more than I enjoy the output of Chelsea Grin. And I like Chelsea Grin. But Darko, I feel like they deserve a mention here because they're just pushing the boundaries of modern deathcore. And yeah, with a lot of cyber elements, a lot of crazy stuff going on, a lot of fun. This album is a lot of fun. It's a bit too crazy at times, it's a bit too unhinged, a bit too long, but it has some fucking gold to it, that's for sure. It's a great record in my opinion. Next up, Nils Frahm, Day. This was an unexpected release. I didn't think he was going to release any album this year. And in case you don't know, Nils Frahm is, I think, a German modern classical composer. In my opinion, he's the biggest genius of this generation in terms of musicians. He can craft some of the most beautiful pieces of work and art you will ever hear. So make sure you have check this guy out. Even not this album in particular, because it's really good, but it didn't quite make it into my honorable mentions nor the top list. But it was still worth shouting out, you know, a new Nils Frahm project. It was very solid, very soothing, very beautiful ambient, post-minimalism kind of record. Lots of like ambient pianos going on, very pleasant to listen to. You Name It is a great track. So yeah, go listen to this album. I thought it was worth shouting out. The next one is Like Moths to Flames, The Cycles of Trying to Cope. Now this was a very good return for the band. I think this might be my favorite record from them. These guys are a metalcore band, pretty much just a standard metalcore band with some Djent elements. They especially incorporate heavily the Djent elements into this record, and there are some songs like Kintsugi, Over the Garden Wall, and Dissociated Being. I'm pretty sure that's what that song was called. Hopefully I didn't just fuck it up. But yeah, great album, very consistent. A little too generic for me at times, but still worth shouting out for sure. And then the last one, we have MIRAR with Mare. Now I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this little album slash EP. It's kind of like a neoclassical Djent metalcore. Yeah, it is batshit insane. You will lose your fucking mind to this, so be careful. You know, watch out when you put the headphones on and try to listen to this album. You gotta be careful because this shit will annihilate you. especially that last song. And again, definitely very boundary pushing, a band or a project doing something unique. I'm not sure if it's a band or like a duo. Pretty sure it's a band though. Yeah, very boundary pushing. Love what they're doing. I can't wait to see what they do next. You know, yes, the craziness was maybe a little too much at times, but still a very, very intriguing album. And yeah, it definitely deserved a shout in these extra kind of albums before we get into the honorable mentions. So let's do that next. Okay, now we're moving on to the top 5 honorable mentions. The albums that unfortunately didn't quite make the list. I wish they could have. They were very close, but they're definitely worth shouting out. There's only 5 of them, and we're gonna get through them. And I definitely recommend that you check out each and single one of these because they're all amazing. So yeah, let's start with Logic Ultra 85. Yeah, that's right. Probably not what you guys expected me to put in even the honorable mentions, but I love this album. It kind of spoke to me a lot. At times, it kind of made me even emotional with songs like Interstellar with Lucy Rose, very reminiscent of Intermission of the what is the album called? Tits. Yeah, the 2015 album Tits. Yeah, just like you just have this consistent patch of songs of just pure boom bap, conscious rap, jazz rap. It's refreshing to get an album like this that isn't like deathly boring. You know, I'm very much in favor of this record. I gave it a very high score, and I still stand by it. I still stand by what I said. I think this record is great. The next one is Fortet and their album 3. This is like a downtempo, ambient, kind of microhouse record. And what's funny is that there are going to be quite a bit of microhouse records on my list here, mostly in the actual top 20. But this one is great. I really had to give it a shout. Songs like 3, or no, what is that song called? Loved. No, the album is called 3. The song is called Love. That one is amazing. But pretty much the whole record is just very smooth. It's the kind of vibe you're just staying in a gas station, in a car, rain is pouring down your windows, and you're just chilling to some really nice electronic music. This is exactly kind of my style, my thing, so I have no complaints towards this record. I thought it was great, and definitely better than anything the band has put out in the past, for sure, at least in my opinion. Then we got Too Close to Touch with Four Keeps. Now, this is apparently, the last album that we're ever going to get from Too Close to Touch. If you're not aware of this band, this was a band led by Keaton Pierce, the lead singer, the lead vocalist, who very unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. And this is kind of his goodbye record that the other guys and his family and the label managed to put together. It's only 8 tracks, and while it's probably not as good as their old stuff, it's still a really really tasteful ending to this really tragic story. Rest in peace to Keaton, man. But this album is amazing. It's just some really catchy alternative rock, post-hardcore, very emotional singing, emotional power chords. I mean, everything you kind of expect from Too Close to Touch. Like an acoustic ballad here and there, a few switch ups, a song with bad omens. It all clicks for me. It's a really tasteful way to end this band's career, and I'm glad they put it out. I'm glad that they took their time with this, and there's definitely a lot of highlights on this one. Next up, we have a very interesting album. Now, this is from the band Underneath. The album is called From the Gut of Gala. What's funny about this record is that it's actually lost media now. Yep, the band has just decided to delete this shit from the face of the earth. You cannot listen to it anymore. The only way that I can listen to it is there's this YouTuber that reacted to it, and he has a Patreon. So I actually am a member of his Patreon, and I could just watch his full reaction without interruptions. That's the only way I can listen to the album because it got absolutely erased, wiped from the entire internet. I don't know why still. I don't think the band has made any sort of statement on this. And I really don't understand why they would take down such a great album. I mean, this was an amazing blend of deathcore, beatdown, metalcore, sludge metal, atmospheric sludge metal. It was just amazing. Songs like Stochastic Terror were absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, you cannot listen to it anymore, pretty much, which is a shame. But I thought it would be that much more interesting to include it in this list since it's lost media now, and it's pretty much inaccessible. But it was a great record while it lasted. The band has put out another album. I haven't listened to that one yet. I'm not as quite interested in it, to be honest. But yeah, this record was great. If you manage to find the files somewhere, let me know. I would love them. But yeah, I don't have them, so the only way I can watch or listen to the album is through the reaction from Bogdan. Shout out Bogdan, by the way. Go follow his YouTube channel. He's a great YouTuber. And yeah, next up, the last one, we have obviously Godspeed You, Black Emperor with the untitled album. No title as of 13th of February 2024, 28, 340 dead. Yes, they did not give this album a title. However, this record is dedicated to the Palestinian victims, and the overall album it impressed me quite a bit, actually. I'm a big Godspeed fan. I love their old works. I gave two of their albums hundreds, literally 100 out of 100. And yeah, their album experiences are quite life changing. Obviously, the band broke up and then they came back in 2011 or something, 2012, and they kept consistently dropping music since then. And yeah, this one might be one of their best efforts. It's just some classic post rock, exactly what you would expect from them. Combined with a little bit of a droney atmosphere, obviously some chamber rock, just classic Godspeed. If you like the band, you're gonna love this record. I mean, especially the first two tracks. You can definitely expect some of those or one of those to end up on the best songs list too. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the honorable mentions. And now it's time to get to the serious business. My top 20 albums of 2024. Let's get it. Okay guys, my dumbass just forgot that I had the camera flipped the other way around. So yeah. But I think it should be all good, right? We're back, and this is the top 20 list. This is the official list, the real deal. Now keep in mind, this is all just my opinion, okay? This is my personal opinion. You can disagree, but I don't think this list is that controversial, to be honest. I mean, it is definitely reflective of my own taste, that's for sure. That's 100% for sure. But I also tried to, mix it up a little bit, add some variety. It's not just like it's metalcore album after metalcore album. I listen to other genres, guys, okay? I listen to other genres. So, yeah. I spent all day trying to decide, man, which album should I put at what place? But it's the fucking 19th of December. I cannot just keep on overthinking this shit. We need to get straight into it. And yeah, this camera format honestly is just a lot easier. The other way I was doing it was a complete fucking pain in the ass. This is totally fine. Yeah, so before we start, let me get one of these, for energy, some sugar. YouTube, this is just candy. See? This is not any, it's not like PCP derivative or anything. Hold on, give me a second. You can look at my beautiful vinyl and CD collection that I kept changing. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I kept changing it every single fucking time there was a new segment, as well as my clothes. This is how much effort I put into this. So you better subscribe. Follow me on Album of the Year. The handle is Remy's Reviews, obviously. But I assume a lot of people watching this might not come from Album of the Year. They might just find it on YouTube casually. So, yeah. The link is in the description. And all of my reviews, every single one of my reviews, not only on these 20 albums, but every single album I've ever reviewed are up there. So if you want to see that, if you want to get enraged, if you want to leave some hateful comments, I'm here for it. Please roast the shit out of me. I love it. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. It makes my day every time, especially the comments on my unpopular hot takes list. Dude, that is so funny, man. Like, I want you guys to keep hating. Please don't stop. Like, it genuinely is like my main source of entertainment, especially at fucking school. Alright, enough of the waffling. Let's get into these 20 records. So, we're gonna be starting from the bottom and slowly making our way to the top, which means we're gonna be starting off with number 20, which is Lives Outgrown by Beth Gibbons. Exactly, Beth Gibbons, man. She's a legend. What can I tell you, man? I mean, obviously she's a member of an amazing band, Portishead. I'm pretty sure they only released like 3 studio records, but Dummy is always going to be one of my favorite albums ever. And I'm pretty sure she also released one solo album, but it was like a long time ago. So this was like a massive moment, you know, for Beth Gibbons to release a solo record. And God, it was amazing. She did an incredible job mixing chamber folk, singer-songwriter, psychedelic folk. This album was very psychedelic. Like, this is like some stuff you could do some shrooms to. And this will probably be the best album for that occasion, honestly. Like, this album is incredible. It's so otherworldly, the textures, the soundscapes, it's so gorgeous. The guitars, man, they're so gentle and beautiful. And obviously, Beth's singing voice, I mean, we all know it's incredible. It's never changed. No matter how much older she gets, she just keeps getting even better, you know? I mean, as much as I love, like, the melancholy sound of Dummy from Portishead, you know, songs like Roads, and I kind of wish she maybe put a couple of tracks like that on this album, what she did right here is beautiful, especially the first and the last couple of tracks. So yeah, this album is absolutely fantastic. No complaints about this one. It definitely deserves a spot on this list. So, next up, at number 19, we got Kamasi Washington with Fearless Movement. Now, this album is kind of a strange one, you know? At first, I wasn't really all too sure about it, mainly because of like the random hip-hop rap elements that, you know, that showed up on a few tracks. And it's not because I dislike the genre, it's just I like my jazz not infused with rap, if that makes sense. However, it still worked, honestly. And the more I listen to this album, the more I love it. It's incredible. The textures, the outro track, Prologue, however the fuck you pronounce it. I'm Slovakian, I'm sorry, okay? I don't know how to fucking pronounce words. My bad. Prologue? Whatever, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Anyway, you know, the intro track as well. So many amazing songs on this one, man. It's just like spiritual jazz this year had a major resurgence. Like, it just came from the grave and just... I mean, we're going to get to the next spiritual jazz album. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is going to be one more spiritual jazz album on this list, and it's going to be quite high. So yeah, the genre, I'm a massive fan of spiritual jazz. I mean, Karma by Pharoah Sanders. You can name any album from this genre, like Alice Coltrane, John Coltrane. It just takes you to a different universe, you know, spiritual jazz. And I'm so glad that we're still getting great work in that genre today. So yeah, Kamasi Washington, salute to you. Great record. A few misses here and there, but mostly it was really consistent, really beautiful. Just some amazing jazz fusion, spiritual jazz music. Okay. Moving on to number 18. 18. What? 18? Yeah. It's Tom York with the Confidenza soundtrack. Now, this is probably a placement a lot of you weren't expecting, and I was kind of surprised at the reception this album received. I mean, not only considering that Album of the Year is just in love with Radiohead and The Smile and anything that Tom York, puts his dick on, but basically, this album just kind of flew under the radar. Maybe because of the soundtrack. I think that might be a reason. And don't get me wrong, it does sound like a soundtrack, but God, is it fucking beautiful, man. Like, it's ambient elements, avant-garde jazz. I mean, it's just so smooth. Oh my God. I mean, you're gonna see one track from this record make it to the top songs list, so I'm not even gonna spoil my favorite tracks right now, because you're gonna see. But yeah, I mean, the strings on this record, whoever recorded the strings is just an absolute fucking madman. Shout out to you. I don't know if it was Tom himself, if he composed the whole entire record. But either way, the instrumentals are incredible. Incredibly soothing, beautiful. The vocals are beautiful when they appear. They're not on every single song. And just the overall vibe is just stunning. It's a very beautiful, kind of warm album. That's all I gotta say about it. I love soundtracks, and this one really clicked with me more than it did with some other people, I think, which, that's fair enough if you're not a big fan of it, but I personally loved it, so, yeah. Moving on. Number 17. We got another album that got quite a low reception. This is Death and Anthology by Enterprise Earth. Now, if you don't know who Enterprise Earth are, okay, they're a deathcore band basically, but they love experimenting, putting interesting elements into their music, blending it with other genres. They did it on their last record. I don't remember what it was called. I think it had like a blue cover, but I really liked that album actually. Was it called The Chosen? Well, let me look it up just so we get the facts straight. This is Remy's Reviews channel, okay? We got to get the facts straight. It was The Chosen. So I wasn't too far away from that actually. Yeah. And this new album over here, very underrated, man. People don't really get it. I personally love it. It's just like a blend of deathcore, even a little bit of metalcore, I'd say, but mostly just djent, technical death metal, melodic metalcore, melodic death metal, progressive death metal. Basically, you get the point, right? And their older stuff had a lot of like alternative metal in it. This one doesn't really have that edge, but it still very much sounds like Enterprise Earth. Now let me tell you, this shit is heavy. Just because it's progressive djent deathcore, I mean death metal, it doesn't mean it's not gonna fucking knock and have some, even, you get breakdowns on this shit that are just like absolutely nasty. Some amazing guitar work, incredible guitar work, I mean just impressive. Amazing song structures. There's this one track, again, I'm not gonna spoil it, because it's gonna end up on my top songs lists, but go listen to this album if you're into the genre. I mean, if you're not into the genre, you're not gonna like it, most likely. But I don't know. It's a very fun listen. Give it a shot. It definitely deserves a spot on this list, 100%. Okay. Take a breath. Number 16 is Wall of Eyes by The Smile. Yes, Tom York again. Radiohead again, I'm sorry. You know, I just love these motherfuckers. This is a side project, obviously, and I wasn't personally all too crazy about their first project. I'm not sure. Was it the debut? The last one? I don't know what it was called. Maybe it was like the second album or the debut. Basically, anything they dropped before this record, I wasn't really too massive on. Like, it was just okay. That one album that had Open the Floodgates on it, that one was like, whatever. Like, it was fine. But now this record over here blew me away because I really wasn't expecting much. But it really wasn't a snooze fest as I was kind of anticipating it to be, right? I mean, you got these like neo-psychedelic elements, a little bit of post-rock, art rock. Obviously, art rock, it's fucking Radiohead, almost, you know? It's gonna be art rock. And you have these really interesting synth modulations, like on songs like Teleharmonic or You Know Me. Very peaceful, kind of tranquil tracks. Just a very beautifully constructed record. Amazing soundscapes. Dom sounds brilliant. His falsetto never fails to amaze me. It never fails to amaze me. Yeah, it's just a vibe. A few tracks that I would have left out probably, or, you know, fleshed out a little bit more. But still, I really enjoyed this album. I thought it was great. Okay. Number 15 is a band a lot of you probably won't know. But this is Bloom, Maybe in Another Life. Now, I would highly recommend you to check out this album and this band because I personally came across this band not too long ago. This is definitely the first project I've heard by them. They have, I think, an EP released before. But this is their debut. And for a debut album, I mean, they fucking crushed it. This is like, you guys know, well, you guys probably don't know, but if you've been following me on Album of the Year, I'm a massive fan of Counterparts, a melodic hardcore metalcore band. And Bloom is like one of the few bands that like takes heavy inspiration from Counterparts. They sound a lot like Counterparts on this record. Just listen to Bound to Your Whispers and like Siren Song. I mean, straight up just Counterparts. You know, those melodic hardcore drums, riffs, you know, obviously it's still metalcore, it's still got a breakdown here and there. But mostly just a melodic hardcore album. And that's not something you see very often nowadays in 2024. So, yeah, respect. Some amazing tracks on this record. Great clean vocals, great harsh vocals, great instrumentation. Nothing to really complain about. Kind of refreshing rejuvenation of a genre, if you will. Okay. Number 14. We got Alpha Wolf with Half Living Things. Again, if you don't know Alpha Wolf, they're a nu-metalcore band. Basically one of the most popular, notorious nu-metalcore bands. I love their first record, A Quiet Place to Die, which was that was actually their second record. Their first record was called Mono, with the old vocalist Aidan Holmes, which is actually in Dealer, which we talked about at the beginning of this video. He got kicked out. But yeah, even though I do prefer other nu-metalcore bands like Throne and Dealer, Alpha Wolf are still great. And A Quiet Place to Die was an amazing record. Now, I'm not gonna lie. When the first couple of singles came out for this album, and they dropped the album cover, which looked like a Limp Bizkit album cover, I was like, oh no. They're just fully going nu metal with this, like, they're not even... Because their last record had quite a bit of, like, emotional punch to it, you know what I mean? And songs like Sucks to Suck, which came out as a single, were kind of just, like, kind of goofy, silly. But yeah, once this album came out, I gave it a couple of shots, a couple of chances, and I loved it. I loved it. Thought it was just some really fun, really energetic, heavy nu-metalcore. I mean, what else do you expect from Alpha Wolf? Definitely leaning a bit more towards the kind of like cheesy nu-metal side, but still, really great record. Bring Back the Noise, the first track. I didn't like it when it first came out, but it grew on me now. It's one of my favorite tracks of the year. So yeah, same with A Terrible Day for Rain. Lots of other great highlights. It gets a little samey towards the end, but still. Really great album from Alpha Wolf here. I don't think it's their best, but it's still definitely good enough to deserve a spot on this list, especially considering how much of a Pistcore fan I am. And you're gonna find that out very quickly as we move on higher in the list. Next up, we have number 13, Ingested, The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams. Ingested, I think, is definitely one of the best, most iconic slam deathcore bands. I guess you could call them slamcore. You know, bands like Acrania fit into that subgenre, slamcore. Bands like Mental Cruelty, at least their old stuff, not their new stuff. But yeah, this band I've always been a fan of. You know, they have some classics from back in the day. But on this album, they go a little bit more, I don't want to say mainstream, because deathcore is never mainstream, let's be honest. But they definitely go a little bit more clean. There's some clean vocals here too, which a lot of metal elitists are going to be like, no, clean vocals. No, why are you putting clean vocals in a deathcore song? Clean vocals? Bro, shut up. Like, just enjoy the clean vocals. Nothing wrong with the clean vocals. They're great. They fit amazingly. It's not like this album is not heavy. This shit slaps you in the face right as you press play on the first track, Paragon of Purity. That shit's a fucking banger. So many highlights on this album, so many memorable riffs. I mean, the song structures feel a lot more complete and mature compared to their old stuff. It's still slam, which I love. They didn't throw away that signature element that they have, but it's not like super chaotic as their old slamcore stuff was. So yeah, love this one personally. Definitely, if you're a deathcore fan, if you're a slam fan, you need to listen to this. Okay, number 12, we have Imminence with The Black. A melodic metalcore, just straight up a metalcore album. Alternative metal, I guess you could call it, symphonic. Lots of violence, lots of fucking strings, lots of melodic metalcore riffs, nostalgia, atmospheric, you know, very, very like polished production, polished vocals. If there's one issue I have with this album is the lyrics are just so stock. But honestly, like, who cares? If the songs sound amazing, they sound amazing. And yeah, when you have tracks like Death by a Thousand Cuts on here, Continuum, the title track, and you have these bunch of like modern classical interludes, you know, with like French names, which are really kind of a cool addition and fit the album perfectly. Yeah, great record. Really enjoyed this one. Really enjoyed this one. At first, I was planning putting it on a little higher in the list, but I found myself not coming back to it as much as I would like to come back to it, unfortunately. Still an amazing record though. The production is phenomenal. The vocals are great. The sing screams are impressive. I mean, they definitely put some time and effort into this one, that's for sure. I guess you could call it generic at parts, but like, is it really? I feel like at the same time it's kind of pushing boundaries a little bit with like the heavy symphonic elements, you know? Symphonic metal generally gets incorporated into like black metal or deathcore or death metal, not metalcore very often. So yeah, very, very great album. Really love this one, to be honest. Great experience to listen from front to back. Definitely recommend that. You guys don't mind me drinking some water? Cheers. You see the Vision Bell in the back, Breaking Benjamin in the back, C418 in the back, Dribbles Prada in the back, Sleep Token, Nirvana, and Alcest. MJ. Alright, gotta stretch out your body. Make sure you're not stiff. Pause. Number 11, we have Kiasmos 2. That's the name of the album. It's called 2 because it's the sequel to Kiasmos' self-titled album, which came out in 2014, I think. which was an amazing record. It was one of the first ambient techno albums that I've heard. And this second record is actually in collaboration with two other artists. One of them is, oh yeah, let me look this up so I don't butcher the name. So Olafur Arnolds, and the other one is Janus Rasmussen. Now I actually know Olafur Arnolds. He has one of my favorite modern classical songs, Shaman or Shaman, Saman. You guys have heard that track? You should, because it's fucking beautiful. And he operates kind of in the lane of Nils Frahm, John Hopkins, you know, that kind of electronic, modern classical, you know, scene, and I love it. I love that genre. I love that whole vibe. Hence why this album is really high on this list. Now, it's a bit different from the debut. It's definitely a bit more Microhouse influenced, a bit more ambient house rather than ambient techno. And then obviously it has those modern classical elements as well. It's just put this album on a rainy day and you're set. You're set. You're just chilling. You're just vibing, man. It's such an amazing experience. From front to back, every single track is great. Not a single track on here that I would skip. Obviously, there are some highlights that are better than others. But for the most part, it's an incredible, incredible record. So peaceful, beautiful, just vibes. Just vibes. Just wake up in the morning, it's raining outside, it's gray weather. You just put this on and you're just like, you just close your eyes. Beautiful. Or at night, late at night it works too. So, hey. At a gas station, honestly, it would work as well. To be fair, most Microhouse albums work in a gas station. I don't know why, that's just, Microhouse and gas stations are just correlated for some reason. You know, you pull up in a car and it's raining on your windows and you're bumping a Microhouse album. I wouldn't leave that gas station. You know, they would have to kick me out of there. I wouldn't leave. The vibes would be too immaculate. Okay, I'm starting to waffle a little too much. Let's move on. Into the top 10. Oh my god, the top 10 Remy's reviews. My favorite 10 albums of this year. Starting off with Shabaka. Perceive its beauty, acknowledge its grace. Now, up until this record, I have not heard much from Shabaka. Yeah, I'm probably butchering it. I'm sorry, I'm fucking Slovakian. Okay, deal with it. Yeah, this guy, I'm pretty sure he was in a band and now he goes solo. And he makes just some of the most stunning spiritual jazz, new age music. It's just something you just do fucking San Pedro cactus to, you know. You go into the woods and you just absorb nature. I've had that experience, man. It's kind of life changing, honestly. The first track, End of Innocence, stunning. What a way to open up your record. And pretty much every single other song is amazing, including the closer. Yeah, I mean, no complaints for me. Just poetic, beautiful, spiritual jazz. Definitely one of the best spiritual jazz albums I've heard in the recent times, that's for sure. Number 9, we have The Cure, Songs of a Lost World. I mean, The Cure, they're back. And they're back with a banger. They're back with an absolute slapper. That's what I can tell you for sure. Just, you know, they're bringing their classic gothic rock elements. They're adding a little bit of alternative rock to it, a little bit of ethereal wave. It's stunning. I mean, you look at the cover, it looks like a fucking stone. The album sounds like a stone. And I mean that in a good way. I don't know. It just sounds like a stoic statue. It's composed, it's mature, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous, it touches your soul, especially the second track. Oh my god. The piano work, the guitar work, the instrumental work, everything is perfect. It's an amazing record. I've never been like the biggest Cure fan in the world. I mean, obviously I love them. You know, Untitled, still one of my favorite songs of all time. From Disintegration, I think that's what the album was called. I probably, fucked it up again, but who cares at this point? I fuck up everything. But yeah, this was what a way to return. Definitely one of the best albums of this year. No debate. No debate on that. Okay, number 8. Now, we're starting to get into the metal shit, so be ready. Number 8, we have Graphic Nature. The album is called Who Are You When No One Is Watching. Graphic Nature are a nu-metalcore band, and their first record, or the last record, I listened to it. I only really, fucking hell, I'm stuttering like a motherfucker. Yeah, damn, this shit is sour. I'm in the thick of it, everybody knows. They know me where it snows, I skate in and they froze. I don't know no nothing but no ice, I'm just cold. 40-something millies up or so, I've been told. I'm in my prime. I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, Graphic Nature. Graphic Nature. I shouldn't be laughing because this Graphic Nature album is very depressing, very emotional. Their first record, as I said, I only like Headstone from it. The rest was it was just average nu-metalcore. Didn't grab me at all. Especially considering how many pisscore bands are out there right now that are incredible. Including Dealer, including Alpha Wolf, including Throne, and etc., etc. Vein of them. You can just keep going, right? And I just didn't think these guys had much going for them. But they proved me wrong. They proved me wrong because when I first listened to this album, my mind is blown. My mind was blown. It was blown away. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does sound a lot like Throne, especially songs like Locked In. It does sound a lot like Throne, but Throne is, I'm not trying to foreshadow, but I love Throne, so no complaints there. Yeah, this album is it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It incorporates drum and bass elements, which kind of makes it a bit more unique, some electronic elements, some glitchy elements, as well as some jungle elements on tracks like To the Grave, which was a single. And yeah, just the quality of this record, the riffs, the song Blinded has one of the nastiest, most aggressive, depressing breakdowns I've ever heard. If not the heaviest breakdown of all time. Jesus Christ. And there's so many moments like that. It's full of anger. It's full of despair. And if you're wondering why, this album was actually inspired by the lead singer. I think it was the lead singer, yeah. He was, I think, in a bus in London, and he got attacked with a knife because the fucking British people, I guess, just got fucking machetes. He got attacked with a knife. A traumatic fucking experience, and he writes a lot about that in this album. There's a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, but also a lot of self-desperation, especially on the outro track, which is really an emotional closer. But most of the time, this shit is very heavy instrumentally. You get those beatdown riffs that I absolutely love on tracks like NFA, that outro. You couldn't be more my style. This is exactly what I needed. And add those kind of angsty emotional lyrics to it. It's a perfect blend. It's a perfect combination. So I hope the singer's doing better. I wish you the best to recover, bro. I don't know what your name is. I googled it, but I forgot it. But yeah, if this is the direction that the band is gonna keep going on, then they're definitely gonna become one of the kings of pisscore. And if you still don't know what pisscore is, because I've used the term 80 times in this video, pisscore is a blend of nu-metalcore, most of the time beat down hardcore as well, and it's usually very angsty and very modern metalcore. So something like Motionless in White Disguise, for example, isn't pisscore, even though it's combining nu metal and metalcore. you'll get the point when you listen to it. It's caveman music, basically. It has those caveman beatdown riffs. A lot of people like to deny that. They like to downvote on the beatdown genres for some reason, even though it's literally like in every song, but whatever. Alright, Graphic Nature, amazing record. I wish the singer all the best. I hope you recovered it, because that's horrible. And, the best music comes from pain, and this is proof of that. So yeah, let's move on to the next album. Number 7. 7? Is that 7? Yeah. Deep breath. Sorry, I got asthma. I don't have my fucking Ventolin inhaler. I'm about to get it soon, though. Boundaries. Death is a little more. Now, Boundaries, man. When this shit dropped, I thought it was going to be album of the year. Now, we were lucky that this year was so incredible in terms of music. We got so many incredible records, so many bands that you thought were never going to returning. It was a blessed year in terms of music. I mean, it couldn't have been any better, possibly, this year. And, Boundaries, their old stuff was amazing. Albums, I think the first one was Your Receding Warmth. Then they dropped, like, an EP before that. Like, I don't remember what it's called. It had that, like, purple cover. That was just a straight up beat down EP. It was very simple, but I actually liked that one quite a bit. Your Receding Warmth was fantastic. And then the album after that, Burning Brightness, I just recently reviewed it. Voice crack. Fucking hell, dude. Sorry. I recently just reviewed it. It was amazing too. So, I mean, these guys put out nothing but heat. With that said, though, Death is Little More might be their best album. It might be their best record, blending the elements of, obviously, metalcore, beatdown, melodic metalcore as well, definitely bringing you back to the 2000s with those, like, just zeros, breakdowns just full of zeros, tripled kicks, those melodic metalcore riffs, you get melody here and there, even though it's very heavy, you get dun 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 dun. Classic melodic metalcore riffs. Very nostalgic album. Very, very heavy. Very angry. Very pissed. Some people were complaining about some of the clean vocals, which don't even show up that often. I love the clean vocals personally. But I do agree that the heaviest songs are the best songs on this record. Man, Scars on a Soul, the title track, the intro track, Darkness Shared. I mean, I could just keep going on. The song with Loki from Alpha Wolf is amazing too. The emotional closer, Inhale the Grief. I mean, great record, truly. I mean, Boundaries really pushed the boundaries of their own sound on this one. My bad. Alright. But you know who pushed boundaries of modern metal even more than Boundaries? Diamond Construct. You probably haven't heard of these guys, because they're a very small Australian nu-metalcore band. Yes, again, another nu-metalcore band, because for some reason I just can't stop listening to this genre. And Diamond Construct, I've been actually listening to them for years. And when they've been very small, because when I first got into Pistcore, I was researching a lot of bands, because there really weren't a lot of bands. And I found these guys from Australia, and as soon as I saw they were Aussie, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fire. I mean, Australian nu-metalcore is just... all these bands are Australian, the nu-metalcore bands. All of them, literally 99% of them. So, I mean, shit. These guys were amazing. They had the DSX2 EP with Psychosis, which is a legendary song. Enigma, great track as well. They had the debut record in 2019 with Submerged, Night Terrors. Good record, but it was kind of a generic standard metalcore. It didn't really show the band's classic sound. And then they released the single "Hit It Back." Now this is a cult classic in the metalcore community, because a lot of people fucking hated this shit. And even on one of the songs from this album right here, which is called Angel Killer Zero, which I still haven't said the fucking name of this album. It's called Switchblade OST, the song, and it actually talks about back in 21, hit it back, they tried to cancel me. I mean, the lyric, The lyrics on this album are fucking awful. They're dreadful. But Hit It Back kind of was the start of that. And despite the lyrics being dreadful on that song, it was just so fun, you know? And they just fully went all in with that sound on this record. But even crazier, just you have these crazy glitch electro-industrial djent nu-metalcore elements, sounds you've never even heard before. On the song I Don't, you even hear a fucking brown note breakdown. How can you even make noises like that with your guitar? How? I mean, yeah, the instrumentation is just so impressive. It's incredible. This album is so fun. One of the funnest albums I've ever heard. And yeah, some people might complain about the angsty lyrics, but they're just super fun to me. I don't, you know, you don't have to take everything so seriously, you know, especially metalcore fans. They're so stuck up and serious. Have some fun, dude. This album is so fun from front to back. So many amazing tracks. Jesus Christ, dude. From front, look, there's not one weak song on here. I thought Switchblade OST was terrible the first time I heard it, but the more I kept listening, the more I just got how fucking insanely entertaining that song was. The glitchy riffs are just incredible too, man. This is really like the future of modern metal, and if this is the sound they're gonna continue in, which I assume they are, they're definitely gonna be one of the pioneers of a completely new wave of metal, because this is some unique shit. Like, some people might claim they've heard shit like this before, but have you really? Not really, exactly. I mean, this is just insane. It's an insane record. So many amazing tracks. Yeah, love it from front to back. Ever since I've heard Jinx drop as a single, it was on repeat in the gym, and then the whole album dropped, and I was just like, dude, this is just incredible. The lyrics are it's so silly. It's just having fun. It's heavy as shit. It's on crack. It's crack music, basically. You know? So shout out to those Aussies, man. They're on some shit, for sure. Those guys do some shit. Yeah. But, hey. If they make music like this, I'm not gonna complain. So yeah, love this record, dude. It's so fun. At number 5, next up we have Pallbearer, Mind Burns Alive. Now, Pallbearer is a doom metal band, which actually has some absolutely amazing doom metal songs and albums under their belt. But they were never a band like I listened to that much. I always loved them, but for some reason I didn't come back to them a whole lot. And yeah, now that they dropped this new record, I mean, I'm a fan all the way. I'm a fan. I mean, I love their old stuff, as I said, but this new record, Mind Burns Alive, it's incredible. They definitely go in a completely different direction, though. I don't think there's much of doom metal to be found here. It's mostly just kind of this mix, this blend of progressive rock, slowcore, maybe a little bit of post rock, you could argue. You know, but mostly it's just progressive rock and slowcore with, you know, their classic doom metal edge, especially on the guitar tones and the guitar playing. Some of the vocal melodies even kind of remind me of weirdly the Division Bell by Pink Floyd, which actually is right here. One of my favorite albums ever. Especially on the first track. I mean, those melodies straight up just sound like out of the Division Bell. They're just so peaceful. This whole album is just peaceful. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. It's an experience. It's such a vibe. The guitar work, the vocals are so pleasant. I love the guy's voice. What a switch up. What an amazing change of pace for this band. I mean, we all know they're amazing at making classic, great doom metal, but this is on another level. And I mean, the experiment for me worked 100% perfectly. You know, it's only 6 tracks, and every single one of them is amazing. So no complaints for me. It deserves the number 5 spot for me, 100%. And number 4, we have Knock Loose with You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to. Now, this album was supposed to be my number 1. Actually, you know, when it dropped, I was like, no way anything is beating this. This is my album of the year. But that just proves how strong this year was in terms of music quality. I mean, so many amazing drops. And it ended up at 4th place somehow. but it's still an amazing placement. This is a 10 out of 10 project for me. This is perfection. Not a single weak track, not a single moment I would cut off. You just have the classic Knock Loose, except they just keep elevating their sound and they just keep getting heavier and heavier and heavier and kind of more deathcore by every single release. I mean, to be honest, my favorite Knock Loose is always going to be like their old like laugh tracks, beat down shit, you know, Billy No Mates, Dead Ringer, Blood Will Have Blood, Oblivion Speak, you know. Different Shade of Blue kind of, you know, suggested they were going somewhere else, and, you know, then they dropped A Tear in the Fabric of Life, which was just a complete elevation for this band. It just took them to another level. A concept album EP that was, you know, I still think it's their best record. Now this one, You Won't Go Where You're Supposed To, is very similar. It doesn't have quite as much of a concept, it's just deadly heavy. It's just supposed to fucking explode your brain any chance it gets, annihilate you, rip apart your fucking insides, disintegrate your... You get the point. This shit is heavy, the guitars sound like explosions, you got the classic beatdown riffs from Knock Loose, which I love beatdown. Knock Loose always delivers that shit, man. I mean, you knew from the singles, Blinding Faith, Don't Reach For Me, and Suffocate, that this is gonna be something special, and it was. 10 out of 10 album, perfect album for me. Love this one. Even the album cover is just perfect. Everything is perfect. The ambience they add with their clean guitars sometimes. Oh man, it's anxiety-inducing music, but I love it. It's so heavy. It's so dark. It's so pissed. Yeah, it's fantastic. And number 3, getting into the top 3. The top 3, the final 3 albums. My favorite 3 albums of 2024. Number 3, Throne, Excessive Guilt. Now, this album got so much unnecessary hate, I don't understand it. Throne has been dropping nothing but absolute slappers ever since they came onto the scene. Their first EP, Extended Pain, was incredible. Fast Forward, amazing track. Grey Out, amazing track. Parasite, amazing track. And then they started the rollout for this record, which I was in that rollout from the beginning when they dropped... I think the first single was Guilt, then On the Verge, Backfire. They dropped a lot of singles from this album. Most of them. The second half they left for the new tracks. I think the only new tracks were Bitter Friend, Dislike, Ignored, So Done, Vent, Bloodsucker. I think those were the only new tracks. But even with that, like, this album is just... It's addicting. It's my most replayed album this year. My top 5 on Spotify Wrapped had 4 songs from this album. Bitter Friend, Backfire, On the Verge, and Nights, I think, was the top one. Yeah. Nights is one of the heaviest, just most disgusting caveman songs I've ever heard. You know, talk about doing pistcore right. Throne does it right. And my ADHD very much approves of this album, since the songs are like barely 2 minutes long. There's a song that's 1 minute long on here, and it's still fire. And it just keeps you coming back to it, you know? It's addicting to listen to. The lyrics are also great. They're very angsty, kind of like angry. Very like, very, very nu metal. He even, you know, spits some bars here and there, goes crazy with the flow. I don't mind it, dude. This shit sounds fire. The riffs are amazing. The bass tone, the drums. I mean, Buster, obviously, you know, working on this, you know, it's going to be quality. So... Buster, if you don't know, he's from Humanity's Last Breath. So yeah, I mean, this is completely different style from Humanity Last Breath. But God, is it amazing! Every single track, the best 20 minutes of your life, and yes, the album is 20 minutes long indeed. So many relatable lyrics too. It's just like "fuck you" and a lot of self-loading. Yeah, it's the perfect Pistcore album. What else do you need from a Pistcore album? It got too much hate for literally no reason. Like, the singles were amazing, the album was amazing. No comment, that's it. Throne, if I get the chance to see these guys live, I'm definitely going. 100%. Bill Murray, American Motorsports, is at number 2. Now, if you were to put this album in a genre, I actually came up with my own. Tractorcore is a good one. Yardcore is another good one. this guy managed to literally take the whole fan base of metal and make them like country music. Let that sink in. I'll give you, you know what? I'll give you a couple of minutes while I get the snack, and I just let it sink in. This motherfucker made metalheads like country. I mean, what do I even have to say about this album? I mean, it's just America. This guy's so hilarious. His music videos are so fucking funny. But the music itself is actually incredible too. And the reissue edition he released of this record was amazing as well. With the 2 new tracks, The End and Too Late. Both were incredible. So this guy has the full package. He's not only hilarious, super catchy, amazing voice, actually makes country sound amazing, funny, I mean, charismatic, amazing songwriter. I mean, this is like, I saw this one review on Album of the Year. Someone said, this is if Ed Sheeran made a metal album. And it's kind of true, but like it works, dude. Combining the elements of, alternative metal and country rock, bro country. He even got Dylan Marlowe and Michelle Tenpenny on this album. Actually 2 country stars that I don't mind. I actually like those guys. I came across them from Bill Murray. And I'm glad I did. Dylan Marlowe's got some bangers. Michelle Tenpenny's also got some bangers. One of his songs might end up on the favorite songs list this year. We gonna see. Alright? We gonna see. It might. But yeah. I mean, just hilarious, amazing. Sounds amazing, And what's so funny is that the videos are just taking the complete piss, but the lyrics are just so depressing a lot of the times. Yeah. I mean, some of the most fun hooks you'll ever hear. It's so fun, this album. It's just happy. It's fun. It's incredible, man. It's kind of a joke, but like, man, I fucking love this shit, dude. Shout out to all my hawk crankers out there. Let's go. Alright. So, it's finally time. I've been recording for 52 minutes, this fucking segment. But it's gonna be worth it, because the number 1 album, in my personal opinion, of 2024 is Les Chants de l'Aurore by Alceste. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I take French classes, but I don't know shit. Anyway, Alceste is one of my favorite bands ever. As you can see right here, the Spiritual Instinct CD. I have all their vinyls. Actually, I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if you can see this. Can you? Yeah, you probably can. Basically 2 Alceste posters on the wall. I have. Just a massive fan. These guys' music just takes you on another dimension. It is just so serene, so beautiful, so spiritual. And they have the greatest discography out of any band. And they're not really a band, they're just a duo. With Nej and Winterhalter. With Nej doing most of the songwriting either way. So, Nej is pretty much a one-man band with a drummer, with an extra drummer. Not to take away from Mr. Winterhalter. He's a great drummer, but yeah, I mean, Nej is the mastermind behind this. And this new album over here, ever since the singles came out, I was just like, I knew it was going to be amazing. And it dropped on my birthday. What more could I have asked? An Alceste album on my birthday? That's like perfection. The most gorgeous pieces of music you'll ever hear. Serene. Very bright, but melancholy at the same time. Melancholic, I should say. It's like super bright and sunny and shiny, but it's also kind of sad and nostalgic, especially tracks like Flamme Jumelle and Reminiscence, and the outro track as well. Yeah, I mean, the guitar work, we don't have to talk about how amazing it is. I mean, yes, this album does kind of stray away from the black gaze genre. This album is just kind of full-on shoegaze, dream pop, post-rock maybe a little bit. There's a little bit of black gaze in songs like L'Envol. At the end, we have a black gaze section. If you don't know what black gaze is, it's black metal combined with shoegaze. But yeah, This album delivered for me, 100%. Just a 10 out of 10 record. Just so beautiful. It just heals your soul listening to this. It heals your soul. It is absolutely magnificent. I love every second of it, and I definitely highly recommend you check it out. I think even if you don't like any sort of metal, like, you might love this. You might love Alcest. It's one of their more accessible records too, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, everything about it is just perfect. The production, the instrumentation, the vocals, the vibe, the atmosphere, the soundscapes. Just takes you somewhere, man. Somewhere you've never been before. So that's all I gotta say.
I likes to get my dick sucked while I'm getting high. Make a deep throat, the mouth never get dry. I say, who pussy is this? She say $sign. Who pussy is this? She say $sign. She stripping, still got a 9 to 5. Say that she mine, but that's a lie. These hoes will tell you anything. She